Okay, we are live. Welcome to your weekly quickie with moi, Brendon. Wow. So last week I was at Elugar. This week I'm in Budapest. I arrived here a couple of days ago, and before this, I was like, I don't know if I have the brain power to do a live with you guys, but here I am. So we're going to see how this goes. Victor, who just put a bunch of messages in the one of the chats, I think it's YouTube. You don't have to be sorry for that, and I love that you're eager. So one thing I will say about that is, don't look for people that have the same mindset as you. Look for how you can receive from and contribute to everyone and everything. And that's one of the things that and congratulations on going to AA and doing things like that. I had a it brings me so much joy when I hear things like that. And because it is really what I would like to contribute to the world. I think I may have mentioned in one of these lives that I was having a conversation with Gary Douglas, and he asked me about what I would like my life to be like in 10 years from now. One of the things that I had put on there was to do with addiction, alcoholism, and all of that stuff. And I was like, I'd like to be something different in the world with it. I'd like to get access into bars, into clinics. And, I had a very linear path that I was looking at with him. And he said, wait a minute, what do you actually desire this to be? And I was like, you know what? I just want to be fucking open and honest. I just want to show up as me, and I want to be something that contributes to people knowing they can have that too. So, what if I say that because, well, what if we didn't have to define the things that we actually desire, but what if we're aware of them energetically? And that's the thing that's actually going to allow you to receive it. So, on the topic of receiving, this live today we called uh what does judgment cost you? Because everything has a cost to it. So if you have something like judgment, you're in a lot of judgment of yourself. You're in a lot of judgment of other people. You're in a lot of judgment of your life or whatever that is. What does that judgment cost you? Is it costing you more than you actually desire to be spending, that's not creating the life that you truly desire? So, a few, I want to give you guys a few tools with this, because this is a multi-layered cake. You'll have obvious areas of your life where you're like, yeah, I'm in a lot of judgment of that. I'm in a lot of judgment of my body, or I'm in a lot of judgment of my relationships. I'm in a lot of judgment of my financial situation. And you'll have these obvious areas of your life, but there's underneath that, and then there's underneath that, and then there's underneath that. So this a few different tools, but with basically judgment is always a lie. Okay, so it's never going to make you lighter. It's never going to give you that sense of expansiveness in your world. So if you can have that with, first of all, getting more present with the things that you're choosing, with your interactions with people, with the way that you look at yourself, with the way that you look at your life. And rather than have to get it right or see where you're wrong, what if you could be more in question of, okay, so what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? If so, how do I change it? And because, see, the other thing with judgment is you stop. Every time you have a judgment of something or someone or you stop anything that coming into your universe that doesn't match it. Okay, so it's not, you want more expansion in your life, less judgment. You want to be happier, less judgment. You want to like you a lot more, less judgment. And the so man, brain power. Where are you? So I had a thing. Well, you guys have heard me talk about my journey with sobriety. So in the beginning of that, I had so much judgment of myself. And it's interesting looking back at it now, because a lot of what I was making wrong was so that I could create myself as something that could be saved, so that I didn't actually have to do the work to get through it. And once again, what does judgment cost you? Well, it costs you your choice. It costs you. It costs you your joy. It costs you your freedom. And So I was just stuck. There was nothing moving in my life apart from I wasn't drinking. And it was about 6 months into it when I was like, okay, this isn't really changing. And I am just stuck in this. And it was just, I got present with it and I started looking at it and going, okay, what's the gift in this? What's the gift in this that I'm not acknowledging? If I wasn't making this wrong, what's right about this that I'm not getting? And, that can be not the easiest thing to look at. If you've got something in your life that you're like, man, I'm horrible for choosing this. I'm the worst person in the world. And, nobody's ever going to get it. And I'm never going to get free of it. Is if you've got anything like that, what's the gift in this that I'm not acknowledging? And what's right about this that I'm not getting? And the more I got present with that and just drop my walls and barriers to it, because you notice that the things that you have as wrongnesses about you or wrongnesses in your life, you have so many walls and barriers up to it, so nothing can get in to challenge what you've judged it as. And so in that, it's just ask, okay, I'm going to be present with this. I'm going to lower my walls and barriers to the best of my abilities and be present with this. And I would ask that question. And I started getting this sense of, wow, I've been asking forever to be everything that I am. And with that, started getting this sense of, man, I actually needed this to put me onto a different track. I actually needed to make these choices because it was the only way that I knew how to get to where I was going. So with something like that, what if you do know? And how much judgment have you been using to hide from you everything that you do know about what's true for you? So, everything that brings up, everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that for you, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, basies, and beyond. So, we just finished the 6 day at Elgar, Costa Rica, and the clearing statement has changed. I'm probably not going to go into that a lot on this. Last week you got thunder. This week you get sirens. Um, I'm probably not going to go into that a lot on this live. I'm actually, if you guys don't know, I go live also in my Telegram chat every Wednesday. So we can put the link in here for you. Jump in there. Tomorrow's live, I may go into this a little more, but tomorrow's live on my Telegram chat is also going to be a little bit of a surprise because we got a bit of a gift for you guys. So that sounds like fun. Jump in there. But uh, blah. So one of the one of the things that I heard at this 6 day event, Dr. Dane here actually said it, and I was like, wow. And I got this in a different way. And this will, if this you let this in, will contribute dynamically to your interactions with people. Okay, because do you ever notice that the people that you have in your life that you care about the most, you tend to judge the most as well, and try and control the most as well? And you're always like, what? Well, how much of that did you learn? How much of that did you learn as a way of creating connection? How much of that did you learn as a way of creating relationship? What if it could be something completely different? And see, one of the things that I've done my whole life is really tried to avoid people. I'd be like, man, people are just tough to be around. But what if they're only tough to be around because you see in them what you've chosen and what you're also choosing? So, the way this was said that it was really helpful was Dane said, one of the ways that you can uh, basically use your interaction with people as breadcrumbs, like as a stepping stones in a path to you getting to more freedom for you and for all of us. Because here's another thing that I love about access is, and consciousness, you get free of something that you've been holding in place as a point of view. a lot of other people get free of it also. A lot of other people that are connected to you, a lot of other people that you've held that point of view in place with get free also. So everything that brought up times a godzillion when you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, povads, bases, and beyonds. Okay, so the thing that he said was with when you're having an interaction with somebody and it triggers you, you're triggered by that interaction, or you just kind of notice yourself like judging or having that need to separate in your world, or that need to have a point of view about it, or just that trigger that goes off energetically is, where have I been this? Where have I done this? Or where am I currently doing this? And then everything that is, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds, and bases and beyonds. And so with this, also with things, if you've got judgment, if you're watching TV and something triggers you and you're like, oh my God, how could they do that? That's so wrong. The only way that we can judge anything is if we've been there and done it. Okay, and the way to the way to getting free of this is by going, wait a minute, if this is going on for me, where have I been there, done this, or am currently doing it, and destroy and uncreate all that. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, povads, bases, and beyonds. And I think we can probably all relate to this. Like if you look at any of the interactions that you have, how much of those interactions are this interactions, conversations, communication are done through this um, uh, multi-layered structure of judgment? Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Are they saying the right thing? Are they doing the right thing? And it's all basically based on reaction rather than an action of, what can I be? What can I contribute? So, uh, okay, what's the gift in this that I'm not acknowledging, and what's right about me I'm not getting? Oh, another another really helpful thing with this, with getting from, okay, what's the cost of judgment, to what would I gain by actually being me with this? What would I gain by being in allowance? What would I gain by having no judgment and having no point of view about this? Is every time something comes up also with that's not light for you, okay, basically any point of view that comes up, anything that's coming into your world is interesting point of view, I have this point of view. With person, interesting point of view, they have this point of view. And then interesting point of view, I have the point of view, they have this point of view. And this is, hopefully I'm making some ounce of sense. It's so interesting trying to form anything right now. That's fun. I was actually going to move this live from today because I was like, I don't have the brain power to talk to people. But here I am. Because that was the other thing, that I really wanted to do these weekly lives with you guys, to show up, but also be like, hey, this is what's going on my journey. This is where I'm at. This is, hey, here's a cool awareness that I've got. Maybe try this. And yeah, so there you go. Okay, last week you mentioned about making a list. Can you please tell more about that? Yeah, get yourself write a list of what your ideal life would be in the next 10 years. Okay, and whatever it takes for you to do that, whether that means you've got to turn your phone off, whether that means you got to go for a walk to the park, sit down and write yourself a list of 10 things, 10 things of what you would like your life to be. And it could be more, what you would like your life to be in the next 10 years. And see which one of those, see if any of those don't actually make you lighter. That was the gift that I got out of writing mine, was I went, actually, that's not actually what I'm asking for. That's not my ideal life. Here is my ideal life. Here's the energy of it. I'd like to show up and just be honest in the world and just be me. With this, how much more how much more would you like yourself without the need for judgment? How much more ease would you have with creating your life without the need for judgment? How much more ease would you have with money? And here's another thing with the receiving part is you can't receive anything that doesn't match what you've judged something as. So if you're going, I'm crap at making money, I'm crap with money, I never have enough money, that's exactly what you're creating. What if it could be, wait a minute, who does that belong to? And what else is possible here that I've never considered? So, a tool that we've talked about forever also with this is every time that you resist and react to a judgment. So if somebody says you've just got it too easy, and you're like, no, I don't, no, I don't have it too easy, and you resist and react to that, you lose $10,000 that year. Every time you're willing to be in interesting point of view and allowance of judgment and just receive it as, oh, wow, that's somebody with their judgment of me, you gain $5,000 that year. So what if you didn't have to resist judgment? What if you could just see it as judgment? I was um, I was having a conversation with Gary Douglas many years ago, and we were talking about. We were talking about this thing where I was like, Gary, help me with something, because in the face, a lot more so in the past, in the face of judgment, I would just shut down. I'd be like, oh my God, this person has this judgment of me. I need to stop doing that. That's wrong. How could I be doing this thing that's creating this judgment? How many of you have the idea that you're doing what creates the judgment rather than they're judging because they can judge? So everything that is, everywhere you've tried to change you based on judgment, everywhere you've tried to change you in order to not be judged, will you destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, basies, and beyonds. And I was telling him this thing about I used to smoke cigarettes, and I was like, every time I go into the dentist, I I just feel like shit when I leave because this guy will be like, you know what, you're smoking, it's terrible for you. How could you do that? That stuff's gonna kill you. And and he would just overload me with this barrage of judgments. And so I was telling Gary about it, and he's like, okay, here's what you do. You wanna next time you go into the dentist, next time you go into the dentist, you wanna have 2 cigarettes right before you go in, and then lay down on the chair and just open your mouth and breathe. And I was like, "Oh my god, I could never do that. How could I do that? That would just and I had so much stuff on it." And he said, "Look, why are you making this judgment greater than you? Greater than the choice that you have available?" And when he said it, I was like, "Oh, wow." Eh, what I asked him was, I said, how did you get through this? Like, how did you get out of judgment?" And he said, I stopped judging when I realized that the only thing that it does is destroys. So everything that is, and everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive, that each and every time we judge, we eliminate what we can receive. We eliminate what we can be. We have to we have to stop us. So everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Um, so there was something else that now I totally forget. Um, crickets in my head. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to do an actual real quickie today because, like I said, I'm having an interesting time trying to muscle up any capacity to speak right now. Um, but I'm also like so interesting with doing this. Being at this 6 day event in Costa Rica, it's like, when you kind of get to different things in your world where you may have been asking for something for a long time, and then it kind of seems to, you'll go to a class or you'll hear a question or you'll get an awareness or something in your world, and it seems to start um, crumbling away. And see, in the past, a lot of the times what I used to do is, how do I put this back together in a better way? How do I create a better version of this thing that I'm desiring to change, rather than what would it be like if I was willing for it to be something completely different? What if you could have a lot more kindness for you along this journey? So, what I mean is, like, when you can get to these points where you're like, man, I have no idea how to engage with people. I have no idea how to show up. I have no idea how to do this job that I'm currently doing. I'm in this relationship that I have no idea how to be in right now. And you could have a lot more allowance for yourself. You could have a lot more kindness for yourself, but also a lot more allowance for the people in your life also. What if we could have a lot more of that, far less of this judgment? So please look at this thing, if it kind of resonates with you, with this thing of, wait a minute, this person's triggering me. Where am I being this and doing this? Or where have I been this and done this? Or where am I currently doing it that's creating this? Everything that is, destroy and uncreate it. And how much more could your choice to choose far less judgment, to choose beyond judgment, how much freedom could that create for all of us? So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, no, be, and receive that, and also everything that doesn't allow you to value you that much, will you destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. What is it like being truly kind to yourself? Oh, that is a journey. Um, you know, the it takes the willingness to look at anything, and really from this place of no judgment. So if you can begin with that, you know what, no matter what it is that shows up, I'm going to be present with it without this need to define it and go to judgment. And so with that, because there's so many things that I've looked at in my own world, and man, it's a journey. You know, that thing of this tool that I'm giving you guys, of when something triggers you, of um where have I been this? Where have I done this? Or where am I currently doing it? I was having an interaction with somebody a few days ago, somebody I care about immensely. And we trigger each other continuously. And I'm having an interaction with this person, and I'm just being continuously triggered, and basically in judgment. And it wasn't until the next day that I really started looking at it and going, okay, wait a minute. Everything that I'm judging about this, every one of these triggers, and I started looking at it going, where am I being this or doing this? Where am I actually accusing this person of what I'm doing myself? Because here's the other part to this is, you can't accuse anyone of anything if you've not been there, done it, or are doing it. So if, in having kindness for you, it's not about, there's a big difference between kindness and niceness. Okay, having niceness for you is about avoiding anything that you could look at that you would see as something that you would have to hide in order to not judge. You would be basically trying to float along the top so that you could have that, oh, I'm just going to be nice to me and everything's going to be happy and wonderful and light. And no, true kindness for you is the willingness to go through the things that are going to give you actual freedom. And so when I started looking at this with this person, I was like, oh, I'm accusing this person of everything that I'm actually doing. Every one of these triggers that's going off in my world is everything that I am choosing in some form. So here's the next step. Okay. Everything that is and everything that doesn't allow me to perceive, know, be, and receive this, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, basies, and beyonds. And then you start walking through life rather than having the need to judge or separate from anyone else based on these things. You start allowing the world to contribute to you in a different way. Like, what if you could walk through the world and rather than have to avoid that which triggers you, rather than have to try and hide from something which might bring up that energy, that because you notice how much you try and avoid judgment, and therefore because you're trying to avoid it, it's something that's always there. What if you didn't have to avoid it anymore? What if you could allow yourself to be present with it and change it? And so you start walking through your life and you're getting pissed off with somebody at work, or you're in a relationship and that person's pushing your buttons all the time, or you've got kids who are just so fucking over the top happy that you're just like, Jesus Christ, will these little shits give me a moment? Well, how much were you judged for being that happy and that over the top? And how much have you stopped yourself being that based on that judgment? Now you're going about it's triggering you based on what your kids are choosing, or anyone else who is, being too much or too over the top. Is now you have the tool to go, holy shit, where have I been there or done that, or where am I currently doing it? Everything that is, destroy and uncreate it. Pock and pod. And now the world around you starts being something that's dropping breadcrumbs. That's like, hey, here's another thing that you can change right now. Here's another thing that's showing up because you can change it right now. And things start changing in your world based on that. What if true kindness for you was the willingness to look at anything? So no matter what shows up, you're willing to be present with it. Okay, cool. Here's another thing that could get me more of me. What would I have to be willing to change to get there? So hope that made sense, because there you go. Truly trusting yourself is you ask for it. Okay. And this is, how do I put this? You can't receive anything unless you're willing to ask for it. So with trusting you more, with having more kindness with you, with having more vulnerability, with having more just of all the things, more gratitude, all the things that you desire, is asking for it more. And here's the the thing with that. Like, I've asked for one of the things I was asking for in this recent trip to Costa Rica was way more receiving. Okay. And what I noticed with that when I asked for it is, yeah, way more receiving, but way more receiving of everything. This means way more receiving of everywhere that I'm not receiving, way more receiving of the judgments that I have that don't allow me to receive more, way more receiving of the judgments that other people have that I'm aligning and agreeing with that don't allow me to receive more. So you start getting a sense of the things again that are presenting themselves to you that you can actually change. So like, consciousness never shows up the way you think it's going to. Um, I certainly didn't think I would be here now, you know, 2.5 years sober, going, "Oh, that was interesting. That didn't show up the way I thought it was going to. Here I am." Um, and some of the choices that I've made, like, I have made some shitty choices. I've made some really destructive choices. I've made some really unkind choices. And I don't know that many people that haven't, but that's an awareness for you to get to in your world. But what if judging it is not going to be the thing that gets you free of it? What if everything that you've chosen is you've chosen to get you here somehow? And So everything that brings up, and everything that doesn't allow you to start asking for and to perceive, no, being received the gift in every choice that you've made, but no longer have to use any of it as a source for your future. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, basies, and beyonds. And one last thing I want to say about this, because this was this is another thing that I've been looking at a lot lately, is where I would still be holding on to the past as some way to define myself, but also some way to create some structure and some uh, eh, solidity of the future. It's almost like, you know, that thing of like two steps forward, one step back, one step forward, two steps back. How a lot of us tend to do that. Like you'll get to a lot of freedom, and then you'll go, "Oh, too much freedom. Let me go back into my past so that I can have some solidity." Well, what if your past truly no longer had to define you or determine your future? And so the like holy like as in right now you start again. As in the next moment you start again. And that doesn't mean you let go of everything that you are. It means you don't have to use the past anymore as a source for what you can have in the future. What else is possible that you've never considered? Who are you today, and what grand and glorious adventures can you have? Where is your attention required? What contribution can you be, and what gift can you receive yourself as? So, my beautiful friends, jump on the Telegram, because tomorrow, like I said, we have something different going on, and it will be at 7 p.m. Europe time. And what the fuck else is possible that you've never considered? I adore you all. Thank you for being here with me on this journey. Bye.